Welcome back, everybody, to Ravenstar's Witching Hour. I'm your host, Solaris, BlueRaven. My wonderful guest tonight is Derik Condit. And Derik, it's so wonderful to have you on board tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It really is. I'll have to have you back over on hyperspace again for another 2 hours over there.
Oh, definitely.
I love your information here. I really, really do. I was checking out your website. It's really interesting. I was looking at the Fukushima. I know Dr. Richard L. Miller was really big on Fukushima and the nuclear power plant. And it's interesting because it seems to me like they were actually having some success with this insofar as the shungite goes.
Yeah. It looks like they were bringing it over there, and I'm not sure how they were actually introducing it. I know they were putting it in water in different forms, and I kind of lost track of it when I started reading. They were trying to mimic it and make an artificial version of it. What I can tell you, give you a little heads up on is we have I can somewhat vague, but we have a group of people that are going over to Japan next month with a large collection. We donated, I don't know how many thousands of pieces of shungite from Cosmic Reality. And then I also personally made some of those orgone devices or orgonite devices we were talking about earlier. And there's going to be a group of people in Japan basically placing those around Fukushima in various locations to help with the radiation and, and hopefully to help us all out.
Right. And how big does the piece have to be when you're doing the grids you were talking about earlier?
Size doesn't matter with shungite. So really the large ones, some vendors will sell a sphere that's maybe the size of your fist, but that doesn't matter because you're going to get the same effect from a small little chip. So the size won't make a difference even in your water. It's more about if it's in your water, if you pour it out, you don't want this really small piece to go, pouring out kind of thing. So you want it large enough to where it doesn't get lost, but it's not a size thing. So it's not like a piece of charcoal where it's in all the little pores, it's actually grabbing things. It actually works on the energy level. So size isn't really a factor in shungite.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah, that makes a big difference right there. So, and of course, not all shungite is the same. So quality-wise, I know you all get the best. In my opinion, I think that you're getting the best quality shungite. Is there something to look for, though, insofar as when somebody's out there as a consumer trying to look at the shungite and figure out if it's a good piece or not, a product?
Yeah, sure. And I've actually put out a video. So if anyone goes to Google or YouTube and does, I think they can probably find it by the word shungite and drone test or laser. Any one of those words, you'll see at least my hands on screen showing you a piece of shungite and showing you a flashlight. You can also type in flashlight test. And shungite conducts electricity. So what you would do in essence is take off the end of a flashlight, put a piece of shungite nugget there, and then if the flashlight turns on, you know that the shungite conducted electricity. And I simply hooked it up to a little drone just to make it a little more dramatic.
Nice.
So you have little props flying, and yeah, it's kind of funny. So you can see, but that's your test. So that's your answer. If you buy a piece from, say, jump on eBay and you're not sure if it's legit, well, jump on YouTube, see what I'm doing there, or somebody else has done a video too, and put it in there, and then that's how you'll know if it's a legit piece or not.
Excellent. Is that under your name, your own web channel, or your YouTube channel?
I think it's under the Shungite Beehives channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
so
definitely. That's
It'll
very
pop up
important. I think people should pay attention to that for certain. Yeah,
Definitely.
That sounds like a fun little test.
It is. It was fun. I thought, well, hey, why not? So I actually grabbed a green laser as well and a red laser pen and hooked up all kinds of goodies to it. And then thought, hey, I had this little mini drone that crashed in my backyard. So I grabbed that thing and lined up some shungite, and it started going.
Very interesting. It really surprises me you guys aren't on the radar, but I'm glad you're not that way.
Yeah, I know, because you never know. We are getting, the university attention now too, and
right.
So
well, that's good that you're teaching. You should be teaching over there some classes in shungite.
I give, I travel all the time. Probably every week at least. I'll speak anywhere. I get invited to places, and I'd go there for free. Of course, talk to I didn't know what a master gardener was, but there's master gardeners out there. That I go and talk to, and beekeepers, and share all the information for free. And that's how we do it. So I'm always willing to do that.
That's good. Well, if you're ever in Colorado, let me know.
Oh, absolutely. I'm hoping to get a trip there. If not late this year, then next year. So I'll definitely reach out.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, give me a shout. Yeah, sure. I know a lot of people would be interested in hearing you. So, and they're very, into this sort of thing here. They need to be. I think everybody needs to be switched on when it comes down to this type of thing. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. And you said you're Reiki master.
Yeah. Actually, I do that as well. And I've kept a lot of that secret, being the correctional officer, like I mentioned, for 16 years. So I was a
You're
little
hurt and healed at the same time, right?
I know. That's funny. I went from bad guys to bees. Yeah.
Well, it's not bad. I just said a friend of mine when he was interviewed last night on my show, and he was a correctional officer too. So he's a nice guy, though. Good people. But, it's not an easy situation. And what he was telling me was that sometimes you have, it's not like you're haunted, but the negativity is just it's off the charts sometimes. Right.
Oh, yeah. Especially I was there 16 years on graveyard. And again, a lot of this is still, I'm letting it out, but the levels I experienced sometimes. So there was a lot going on there. So the times I would go inside the prison work, because I was on the perimeter, say just doing the big circle around or something. But depending where I'm at and doing and the different things I would experience from energies to entities, there's a lot going on at the prisons.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's what he was saying. Very, very entity controlled, I guess you could say.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, shungite, actually, you should dump a bunch over there.
I did before I left, as a matter of fact. There's not much I can do about that now.
Right, yeah. And a lot of people have technological interference, too. A lot of people were test subjects. I don't know if you know how much you know about that, but a lot of the private prisons, people were used for covert induction harassment programs, entrainment, what they call re-education with signals, which means you're getting electroshock therapy with implants, interference programs, interference patterns with these poor guys, and not all of them, but quite a few. And of course, I don't think that's ever been addressed, and it's a shame.
Oh, they still do it. There's so much going on there that's not believable. When I was in grade school, they'd come in and take me out of class in a little white van, just like in a movie. I'd go wait. I wouldn't remember anything. Memory wipe. I'd come back.
Wow.
And this was my whole childhood. I guess. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They would even go as far as having because I had the newspaper clippings before my mom passed. I got this whole pack of stuff, and I'm like, what is this? Oh yeah, they would take you to these special classes, Derek, and then I look back on it, and it was pretty interesting. I'm sure I wasn't the only one.
Did you come from a family of military or something? Or
yeah, there's big stories there, and yes, and yes,
that explains that. Then that's why.
And
you have no choice.
Secret. My dad, we just found out through this because they made the mistake of letting people do these DNA testing online. Mm-hmm. So we're finding out my dad had a secret twin brother that he wasn't told about. And I knew about my mom's, and then the whole psychic thing kind of runs in our line. Then he was ex-military as well, a whole lot more interesting stuff than I did. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, it runs in all of us, and I've been toyed with.
It sounds like it. Well, you're on the right path now. It's just, I always believe. Yeah, it seems to me like we're here to master consciousness, insofar as just being able to navigate and go to the highest level of consciousness. Insofar as just controlling our own abilities, even if we're getting interference or control mechanisms. So that's at least what I picked up on anyway. So mastering consciousness is a big deal.
It is.
And this
it makes
is part
a big
of it.
difference.
Yeah, it certainly does. So, but you do offer services. So if somebody wants a session from you or healing, you can do that on your website, or people can reach out to you.
Yeah, I do that. I don't do it so much anymore because I'm more about because my time is so limited. I like to share the information and teach everybody. Everybody can do it themselves. I'm nothing special. We're all, let's make this a team effort. So that's why I throw it all out there for free. So I kind of shy away from personal sessions, but I like to talk to anybody and teach them. And I go to different, Northwest Psychic fairs every weekend up here with a table, but teach everybody for free everything. And it's all about sharing. We're
empowerment
community. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
I like
the only
that.
way
I really
to make
do.
it happen.
Well, it seems to me like nobody has any information. Not nobody, but it seems like a lot of people they just don't understand. They haven't been educated in a lot of these areas. And just something like this with the shungite, that makes a huge difference in someone's life. Between night and day, between being and feeling better energetically versus just being miserable and not knowing what's going on. If it's something correlated to this, Technology.
It will. And shungite's one of those things. So lots of minerals and crystals and things are absolutely and have an effect and say just what people are saying they're doing with them. Absolutely. But now shungite is unique that it's dramatic and it has a huge effect on almost everything and anything living that interacts with. And from just grounding, even if somebody doesn't feel the energies, you're going to have a emotion change because you're going to have that ground. You may not know what it's attributed to, but you will feel better and feel different, even if you're not into the whole energy thing and grounding. And, maybe somebody's not drawn to go hug a tree, which is legit. There's absolutely something to that. There's an energy exchange, an electron exchange. But even if they're not to that level, they're going to realize that they're going to be calmer. Again, I'll bring up the digestive tract. That will calm down because it all interacts. Our physical body tries to match our energy body. So when we're sick that way, you want to, often the energy body is ignored. And so you still have the physical body. You're putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. treat the bullet
Totally.
first.
I agree. It all starts in the energy field. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, it starts in the aura, usually illness.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And you have some crowdfunding going on right now?
Actually, that ended.
Okay.
It wasn't a huge, it was okay, but it was more about getting the word out. So that did end. I probably sent you a PDF of it.
But, yeah, you did. Are you going to start another one or no?
No, it's more because we do sell the product online, and it's not where we need money any longer for that. So there's don't take when you don't need it. Nothing like that. So it's more about sharing now. So again, at the shows, we'll hand out half the items as we can. As much as we sell, just to share the word. And so we don't do the crowdfunding or the nonprofit because we're past where it was needed. So it's not about taking, it's about giving and sharing now. So that's
awesome. Well, we certainly appreciate that. I know everybody does. Yeah. Are you planning on writing a manual or a book on the shungite, or do you have one available?
Yeah, actually, Nancy Hopkins is in the middle of writing the book, and I've submitted my portions of it regarding the bees and stuff like that. So it is in the works and should be out in the next several months, we're hoping.
Very
so
good.
We can share that information. Then we try and publish all sorts of things online where we can, in FAQs or help sections. And actually, often if somebody goes to cosmicrally.net, there's a new chat system, and you'll actually see me in there. If I'm at home working, I'll have that chat room up just so I can answer questions. It's help as many people, even if it's just for 10 minutes and I'm on there, I'm going to open that up so that one person can be helped. And my wife Maureen will do the same.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah. Tell Nancy I said hi next time you talk to her.
Oh, yeah, definitely
have her back on. I haven't talked to her for a while. But yeah, that's great. I'm glad that this is taken off. I remember she wasn't just starting this, but it seems like it's really evolving. It's nice to see.
Yeah, it just definitely is evolving. I'm adding, and I have a lot going on in this location in Washington State where she's in Florida. So we're making all kinds of new products. So like I just brought out shungite coasters. So for your drinks.
Oh, wow. I'll have to check out. This is on your website?
Yeah, they're on the Cosmic Reality one. So they're under the
I'm going to go look. I have to go dive in there. I haven't really hunted in there. Now I'm going to have to go shop.
Yeah, you have to give me a list of stuff to send you to try out.
Oh my gosh, I love coasters. I was just looking at coasters online the other day, so I can get ones that are shungite. That's much better.
Oh yeah, just that field. So because shungite doesn't have to be in your water. So let's say it's your coffee cup, and you don't necessarily want to throw a black rock in your coffee cup. Well, you can put it on the shungite coaster, and shungite has a toroidal or donut field, and we all do, and that's called a torus. And that's how it works. So stick your coffee cup in the middle, and then now it's in that field.
I love it. Wow, this is fabulous. I know a lot of people some are for vaccines, some are not for vaccines. What is your impression of shungite and working with vaccines, or maybe people have been vaccinated, or is there anything to say to that correlation-wise?
Yeah, I'm big anti-vaccine. And actually my wife, and now I can talk a little bit more freely because we've hired her away from her job. She was one of the vaccine coordinators for the county we live in. So you have to count them. It's all a government thing. So what I can tell you there is on the vaccines, if she was to take one out of this little refrigerator they have them in, and she takes it over to me, so say a 200-pound guy, and she can give it to me, she can walk over to a 6-month-old baby and give that baby the same vaccine dosage. But let me tell you, if she dropped that vaccine on the floor on the way to one of us and it broke, she has to call in a hazmat team for cleanup. Well, wait a minute here. If she has to have a hazmat team to clean up this liquid they're about to inject into a baby or a grown man, aren't there like 50 flags flying up in people's heads on this? It is so wrong. Yeah. Now, so what I would do, and again, I can talk more now, I do things etherically and remotely as well. So I have little frequency, sometimes they're known as slim spurling devices, but you can do it etherically with other things. And so I would place these devices under this vaccine refrigerator, and you can adjust frequency. So then send shungite, or in our case, the shungite bees, because they have a healing frequency, through the vaccines and clear them out. Now, that's of course, the ones here and do that. But so we're big anti-vaccine for lots of reasons. It's, there's lots going on that, but they're really, really bad.
Yeah, it's just really concerning. There's no doubt about it. I was curious about that. That's a great idea. I didn't think about that because it is true. The bees get acclimated to the shungite. So if you start spreading the bees around, then that's good, isn't it?
Oh, even more. So often, another interesting fact is a cat. So your kitty, furry, has that purr actually heals bones. It promotes rapid bone healing. So your doctor, and this is all a device you can go get a prescription for. People might want to ask that too. Well, wait a minute. So if you have a broken bone, you can get a device from your doctor, and it'll just put a little cup right on let's say your arm's broken. It's not in your arm, nothing like that. It just sits on top, sends a sound. You don't even hear it, a frequency. And your bone will heal fast. Well, your cat's purr does the same thing, and that's all a frequency. So and the bees have the same thing, and these are just, sounds, and they promote healing. And they limit this device I'm talking about with the cat's purring. It's actually, they just break down the math and get the number for the frequency from the cat, but they limit its uses so that you can't run next door when your buddy breaks their leg and all of a sudden help promote them. So they'll limit you to like 5 uses. Then you have to go back and get another prescription for a sound. Now, let me tell you this. Now, think in your head, well, wait a minute. That's just a sound. Why can't I have that on my cell phone? Well, let me tell you, you can. Take it to the next step. Forget them. Forget the prescription little sound machines that they're limiting you on healings. The heck with them. But you don't limit anybody on healings, especially a sound, a frequency. Do it yourself. And you can get these frequencies or B ones or several doctors that have done them, but you can make it yourself. But just be aware, even the pharmaceutical, they've tried to get a hold on frequencies, not just the chemicals that we don't need anyway, or they try and convince us we do, but they've got a lockdown on sounds.
True.
And yeah,
weaponized. Well, like the Rife medicine back in the day too. Yeah, that's interesting. You're mentioning the frequencies that you can have on your phone. Is that something that you create yourself?
So I have done my frequencies as well, but there's a doctor, Valerie's. I have problems pronouncing her last name. She's so great too. Solheim. She can be looked up at Bees Healing Beings. So BEINGS. I know it kind of runs together, but yep. So she has a CD where she recorded some really special bees in South America, and people can read it more about that. But the frequencies can be downloaded, and then often people understand the 432 hertz and the 520. Yeah. Okay, and there's something to all of that. And they all work, and then there's no reason you can't, and it's not a volume thing. So you don't have to, if you're in the office or whatever, you don't have to, people think you're crazy because turn the volume down to 0. It's a frequency, not a volume. Correct. That's different. Right. Yeah. So put it on 0. And then I'll tell you one more thing. So let's say it's on a CD. You don't need a CD player. Just use the CD. It's digitalized on that CD. It's a frequency. Literally, there's a frequency coming off a CD. So I know I'm saying forget the whole CD player. Don't put it in your car. Do nothing. You can turn it upside down. And what we do is we have it actually the honey on top of it. So we have think of storage shelves. And there's a copper device, slim, spurling mixed. Other people, lots of them do it, but it's a certain design that broadcasts and amplifies frequencies. So we have the bees healing frequencies on a CD, not playing, just under them. And this is all science, by the way, all provable. Frequencies generate up through structure in the honey that is also in hexagon glass jars. And that's not lost on us, the use of sacred geometry and the hexagon shape. And there's a reason the bees use hexagon in their honeycombs. It's not just by chance. There's a whole frequency there to the shape. And we keep that. And that's why if you're buying a plastic bear on Walmart shelf, you've just bought the deadest honey basically possible, especially sitting under those, and those fluoride, or what do they call them, neon lights or whatever lights are up in there nowadays. So there's lots of aspects that should be looked at.
Oh, absolutely. And I would assume that radionics would correlate to this too. You could use radionics with a shungite.
You absolutely could. That's a great way to throw some more additional programming or set it for specific people. And
That's fabulous. Yeah, I love it. I just think everybody out there listening should really go to the websites and get your shungite. Seriously. I can't say that enough.
Yeah, the shungite honey, what we do and we find, so a lot of, so the metaphysical community around here is a lot of interest. So they'll, and I do the exact same thing. It's just take the little jar and you just dab your finger and then just put it under your tongue but then program it. So that's what I'm getting at is don't just think of the antibacterial and all that I talked about earlier, all the good physical stuff that's going to help your biome as well. Program it. You can program shungite or I'm thinking of other terms people maybe use. Tell it what you want. And where to go, and it will respond.
Yeah,
so that's
intelligent
another
energy
factor. Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It really, really does. Yeah, it's almost like a symbiotic relationship. That's really cool. I like that. Have you ever been over to the Bosnian pyramids? I'm just curious. I know it's kind of out left field, but
No, that'd be fascinating to do, though. No,
have
I
you looked
haven't.
into that? Have you checked that out at all or
Not the
no?
Bosnian ones. No,
I
I
mean, so far
make.
as have you researched it? Have you looked it up online or anything?
I do a lot with pyramids. I make my own here. You're
Okay.
the first to ask me about it. I make copper pyramids here in my shop, and I'll make
Sweet.
them that you can meditate in, and the animals will jump in there and sit. You can promote healing. It's nothing I
Oh, I
invented. I'm
love
going
that.
off. Yeah, so I'm doing
Yeah.
lots of things like that as well, but
Very
not the
good.
big
Yeah.
ones. No, that'd be fun.
Okay. Well, he was mentioning, it's really interesting because supposedly there's a healing transmission. If you go into the pyramids, first of all, you get blocked from all the transmissions and all the types of dirty electricity. Everybody gets really, really peaceful and they feel very centered. And also a lot of healing has happened there. So I was just curious. It's something you might want to look at down the road.
Oh,
I'm
yeah, the
interested in that too.
pyramids. Yeah, I understand the geometry and all that in the pyramids. And so there's the kings. So we're talking about the Giza one, the kings and queens chamber. So there'd be a spot in there, think in the pyramid shape that would be for metaphysical enlightenment. And then there's a different spot for healing energy. So that's another aspect of it. There's different ones in there. And then those whole tubes coming through are for the sound frequencies and whatnot. I'm not sure what all they're actually putting out on the news or not, or on the shows about the pyramids, but they're actually, the different stages in all the pyramids. So if I make let's call it a Russian pyramid, which would be a more drastic shape, and you sit in that one, you can think more metaphysical type thing. Or if I go in the Giza one with a more sloped side, that's where I can't keep my cats and dogs out of or anything. You're going to get in there and you're going to promote healing. And this is just out of copper piping and things, and then just hitting certain angles. And for different uses. So it's not lost to me that the shape of the pyramid makes a difference. It's not just or 3 or 4 sided. So yeah, it's interesting.
Perfect. We have a question here in chat, actually in Skype, and thank you, Willie. He's asking if we can use shungite honey on foods.
Oh yes, you definitely can. So you can do that. I'll have it in my tea or coffee. Just take a small amount, and so definitely don't. I mean, it can be used again as a sweetener. Of course, it'll be the best sweetener you've ever had. But just definitely look at the energetic aspects of it as well. So yeah, definitely you can mix it into your foods. We give I'll take a wooden stick. I think they're called big shiskabosh sticks or something, and dip it in there. And our animals will literally, our dogs, 3 dogs, 2 cats, line up for their shungite, and they get their medicine.
Funny.
Oh yeah, and then we have a large dog that's, I don't know, 15 or 16 years old. He's getting up there in age. It is like a miracle with him. He had cloudy eyes, and this was off a suggestion from somebody else, not me, no intuition there, nothing like that. They said, hey, I tried this. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Long story short, started giving it to our dog. He's jumping. He had trouble standing. So he's, again, getting up there in age. He's jumping up and down now, running around. His eyes have cleared up. It's like it backed off several years from him. It's miraculous. And we're hearing lots of those stories from different animals.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful news. Yeah, it seems to me like animals really do know. They know how to heal themselves, and they're very attracted to certain energetics. It's fascinating how they behave.
They definitely know, and all of them respond to the shungite. Yeah, even if it's again, we used on turtles, birds, chickens, cat. I mean, all of it. You name it, and they all respond.
Yeah, that's wonderful. We were talking about those pyramids. I was thinking about I'd love to have a sarcophagus made of shungite.
It's funny. You're getting into something that I haven't told anybody yet. So what I'm doing now is...
Are you building one?
I am building what I've got is shungite tiles. So I'm going to build... So
all right.
I mentioned, it's going to be healing. I may do it into a trailer form. I'm not sure, so I can make it portable and get it places. So you're going to lay in there, and I'll take it. And it's miraculous stuff. Like I said, they make shungite rooms in Russia out of it.
Right.
But I thought, hey, why not get one of these little like teardrop trailers so I can go see people, and guess what? They can go take a nap. Oh yeah,
it's beautiful. Where do you live?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, that's why the trailer, so you don't have to come out to the Cascade Mountains to see me, unless you want to see the bees too.
Take it on the road.
The trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely will.
Oh, I love it. Well, are you going to sell those down the road? Do you think all this stuff that you're making? Are you planning on selling any of it or no?
Oh yeah, I'll do it for anybody anytime. Yeah, those you can buy online, but you can. It's more effective getting them together and developing what you're going to put them in, sort of thing.
Right. It seems like you're one of the right people to contact for buying things. I don't know, just the way you think and your energy signature.
Yeah, and there's there's a lot we got going on. A lot of other devices I make and I haven't talked about, but we're always making new. I even have shungite ink. So I have a fountain pen.
Really?
Yeah, where I'm integrated, because I thought, hey, if you're going to be signing contracts and marriage licenses or signing checks or birthday cards to your grandkids or whoever, put some love in there, program that shungite ink with love, send it out. They can't. So when we think energetically, And these, we'll just say, bad guys are getting us to do these contracts and agreements, and a lot of them are in our sleep sometimes. But if we're doing it here, you know what? The heck with you. You're going to get some shungite in there. And the other part I'm leaving out, shungite cannot be used negatively. It isn't going to happen, period. I don't care how tough this bad guy thinks he is. It can't happen. So if they're getting you to do a contract or marriage certificate, and there's some metaphysical stuff behind all of these things, you could sign it in shungite ink, or again, write a letter to your husband over in war or whatever, shungite ink. You just sent some shungite into the war zone. Nobody knew it, and it's benefiting him because he has that letter in his pocket. And his soldier boys don't know he's crazy as hell because he's wearing a shungite pendant. He doesn't have to go that route. He can have the shungite in that form. So there's lots of ways to do it.
Oh, that's wonderful. So all these wonderful ideas you have, you obviously will evolve onto your website at some point.
Yeah, and those are actually all available now. So
they are? Okay, I got to go shopping then. All right.
It's all there. Yeah. It's all there.
I'll go shopping on your website.
Outlet covers. Yeah, I've made shungite fingernail polish. So for those
Did
that work
you really?
With
are you kidding? Oh my gosh.
So it's on there, and you can dab that on, say somebody that has hearing aids, because our stickers are kind of big. They're for your cell phones or Wi-Fi routers, and I've laminated some of them for under your shoes. So now think walking around, and we have actual medical doctors, MDs, with our shungite S4 stickers in their shoes, and think the days of when we had these magnets and copper and they were throwing it all which way in there. Well, it's legit if you do it right. Shungite, you can just put them in your shoes that way.
Perfect. I like that. Well, they do work. I know those S4 work. I was going to ask you about tinnitus. The ringing in the ears. Would you say that shungite would help that?
It will help that, but the tinnitus, often that's misdiagnosed in people. So a lot of it is everything's frequencies and energies, of course. I'm not real comfortable with a lot of the terms out there, but often the tinnitus part, and let's go with the left ear often in people. Your head and your heart, so your third eye, and I'll just speak blunt, and if somebody out there has a question, they can type in the text. Or think of your radio dials, your tuning dials on your radio. I'm talking about your heart chakra and your third eye chakra. So these frequencies are different channels coming in, and if we learn to use our dials, our third eye or our heart chakra or both, and tune in these new frequencies, we can now, not just have jazz radio on our jazz music on our radio. We can pull in the country, we can pull in the blues or whatever. So their frequencies maybe being pushed at you, not all the time, but often. And if you work on yourself, and often that's a diet thing because they're getting us in our food and water, and it's blocking you from picking up these frequencies. So you're getting tinnitus, you're getting pain, sharp stabs in the brain. Often people will get things like that. Well, there's again, I'm not big on the terms, but there's upgrades coming in. If you want, in this computer analogy, the firmware upgrade, you might want to get the viruses off your system. Yeah. And then you get the upgrade. So that's kind of the new program.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you on that, because we are bioelectric beings. We are capable of interfacing with all kinds of technology normally. It's just about picking and choosing, in my opinion. But I do get a lot of people, and I've had a lot of people over the years tell me that they've had a lot of weird hearing issues, and not necessarily health issues, but maybe it's transmission and psychic energy and their empathic tendencies to be tuned into different transmissions that are hitting them in the radius. And once again, I think maybe the shungite would neutralize some of that.
It will. It'll neutralize a lot of that. And then a lot of people just straight up have implants in their head, and that's
right.
No joke.
Oh yeah, I'm loaded.
I was. Yes. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know because I can see certain things too, and down the spine.
You should see my DVD documentary. There's analysis on there, and it shows everything. So.
Oh, really interesting. I'll have to see.
Yeah,
that.
I'll have to. I'll fill you in on that someday.
Okay. Yep. We'll talk. Yeah. But shungite does help with all of that. As far as not just blocking, but clearing out, removing, doing all different levels. So it's a great tool, is how I term it.
I agree. Well, that must be why that's the Russians' little secret, then, huh?
It was. Yeah, it was, but it's out now, and they're excited. I get approached by Russians at these shows I do, and they'll come up, they'll say, you Americans are just now figuring this out, kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, we're a little slow.
Well, it seems like they have, DC has its own, I don't know what they're using exactly, but I know they block a lot of transmissions. They have their own way to keep a Faraday cage and, keep signals from coming in and out of certain locations. But I'm not sure if they're using the shungite or not, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if they are either, but yeah, you're right about that. And this stuff I experienced on that 4,000 mile shungite grid I was mentioning vaguely
earlier.
It. Oh yeah, it was the stuff I saw out there in the middle of the desert, and then just Yeah, yeah, I can go to stories for hours on that. From what would you call them? I guess you'd call them a little airport that doesn't really exist, but it's out there and doesn't show up on Google Maps. And they happen to have, say, 2 airplanes from every single company out there, sort of thing. And yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, it's funny because they have their own protected areas. All these facilities, these covert facilities have their own areas where they're not getting bombarded. They can deploy whatever they want and have their own transmissions. But we out here in the civilian world have issues with getting bombarded. So anything we could do to shield ourselves and keep ourselves protected is going to be very beneficial for us on all levels.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah.
It really works for me. I'll tell you, and I love the idea that you have a background in diving.
Oh yeah. I was not just a scuba diver, but a commercial deep sea diver. So I was
That's
that guy.
Badass.
Yeah, it was fun with the whole hard hat and underwater welding and diving.
How deep did you go?
Oh, and even at some of those jobs, I wouldn't know. It was probably 400, 500, 600 feet on some jobs where we'd be down there for say 8 hours. But then the catch is when you're on these oil rigs, they yank you up to the surface and then you strip everything off and you have to jump into a decompression chamber for that another amount of time. So another 8 hours. You're in this decompression chamber, just reacclimating to the atmosphere for the second half of your shift. Yeah.
Wow.
And then, stories. Yeah, a lot of good and bad stories from that.
Well, let me ask you something. When you were down there, did you notice? I mean, I know it's business and it's work, but did you feel energetically like it was a good place? Like you felt more secure or higher consciousness or anything? How did it feel?
You do, because I do some animal communication as well, so I'm a little bit out there, sort of thing.
Oh,
so
nice.
Dolphins? So when I'm down there, yes. Oh,
very
dolphins
good.
are something special.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. There's a
Oh,
yeah. Oh, no kidding. Absolutely. So yes, on that one down there with the fish. So when I would get separate from, and all the other disturbances and all the other just the static that I could see and sense and feel. So I'd go a few hundred feet down. It'd start to get dark. But then the animals, I'd have a lot of these stories from my wife too. But so I have interactions with animals where they'll just respond. So I walked into a pet store some time ago, and there's like 100 parakeets in a cage just going crazy. And anybody can do this. Hit them. I just surround them. I focus my energies, move them, and they all shut down instantly and go to sleep. Like 100 of them at once, sort of thing. So it's one of those things that again is only believable if you see it in a movie, but you can do that underwater, and that's how they would respond underwater. Is what I'm getting at. So without the interferences. If you send out back to your heart chakra, that dial that I call a dial, send your love out and project it, they feel it. And there's less disruption down there. So they'll come up to you, and and there's cameras on our helmets, and I have a headset on so they hear me. I'm communication the whole time. And so they can see what I'm seeing. And I'd have barracuda, sharks, whatever, come up to the camera mask and just look at me and just sit there through the lens of the helmet.
Wow.
You can come up, you can pet them. You can, you can all kinds of things, but they respond.
Interesting. Well, you're definitely very unique, very different kind of being. That's for sure. I want to say contactee, but I'm not going to go there yet. But you know what I mean. You're different.
Oh, yes.
You're wired differently. When you were doing the Microsoft contracts, was that anything interesting or maybe classified? I know it's none of my business. I'm just curious.
No, nothing classified there. Okay. It was more of a subcontractor thing. So I was the hardware guy because I was in between all these other jobs I did. I taught myself computers. In fact, I met my wife before the internet on bulletin board systems.
Oh, wow.
So it was pre-internet. We've been together that long.
Okay. Yeah, I remember the days.
Yeah. So we met there. So I would go around and set up the networks for Microsoft. So I wasn't like building Microsoft Office or anything like that. I was the hardware guy. So I'd go to the big high rises in Seattle and set up their computers. And then we'd get rushed out of there, and they'd do whatever secret thing they were doing. So nothing real exciting there.
It's good background though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was good background. I can tell you they do, again, because considering the audience here, I can say a whole lot more. They do have stuff on their hardware. I don't know how they're doing it. It'd have to be somebody that, more knowledgeable than me. But what I can tell you, because I'm I don't know, I'm big on the terms, but energy sensitive. I can see things. I can communicate with others that are unseen often. We'll say it that way. And I would see things. I'm like, wait a minute, because I'd look at the computer, say, and it was almost live sort of deal. So it had energy, and I'm like, what? And I can't tell anybody because, again, I'm the computer tech going from A to B, driving these computers, and nobody else knows I'm this crazy guy. My mom was, we didn't talk about it, but she was psychic. She could communicate with her guides, and I never told anybody about any of this. So this is all new. So anyway, I fell into that realm. So I kept quiet. And I was in my 20s at this time, and I'm like, okay, why is this computer alive? And I hadn't got on the internet yet. I didn't know what any of this was. I just knew it was crazy as hell. But it was happening because it was there in front of me. So how do I explain this? I don't know. So they're putting energetic entities or something in systems, and they can move among them. Now, any more depth than that, you'd have to find somebody that's more knowledgeable. But I can tell you it's happening because I saw it. But what they're doing, that's a good question. But they do move. And I'll tell you another piece. They move, whoever they is, whatever these entities, AI, whatever it is, I can actually see them. Probably a month ago, I was driving my truck in front of you'd call it a transformer substation. At least that's what I call it, where all these inverters and transformers and whatever it is with the power system. All of a sudden I was driving by one, and I was doing let's just say my etheric work. I take down cell towers. I'll just say it. I'll drive around, and I can theoretically protect people from cell towers. I'll stop certain frequencies. I'll lay certain things over them. Shungite's a big portion of it, a frequency. So I'll do things like that. And I usually don't advertise this. So I was doing that, and then I heard an explosion in my truck the minute I was doing it, because I was on a new tower. And long story short, for somehow the caliper exploded on my brakes, stopped me in front of the substation. And this is the interesting part for me, at least, because it was so drastic. And I live in a life that, again, is just not believable. So I don't usually talk about it. But I don't know, a creature, an entity, it was the size of, say, a small cow, no legs, came out of the substation thing, flying. And at this point, I'm already what I call armored. So I put a silver mirror around me facing out. So nothing malicious. And people, there's lots of terms, God, source, universe, everybody pick their term. That's fine. But I'll use the strongest power with a silver mirror out, and nothing malicious see me. And it works. And I have firsthand knowledge of this, because these things coming out, and again, I don't know what they were, coming out, couldn't see me. And I was standing with a couple of guys that were pulled over to see what was happening, because they saw it was a big deal. And I see them flying out of the thing, and I'm like, what in the heck is this? And they ignored me and flew right by. But it was not like some psychic overlay that some people get, or videos, because I get all of that too. This was straight up here in the 3D, flying around like a Slimer sort of deal from Ghostbusters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting all kinds of things, I think that has a lot to do with the multidimensional space, and everything's been weaponized. So we're getting all kinds of anomalies. Sure. So it makes sense right there. It sounds like you're really switched on if you're seeing all that stuff going on. It is interesting, though, when you're at that right vibration, though, nothing can really touch you unless they are targeting you and triangulating you.
I was touched. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right. Until then, as I learned more, and then learned about not being in a state of protection, so I don't need to protect myself anymore, because that puts you in a state of fear and, oh wait, something's there. No. Right. The difference is a state of armor. I'm a bad kind of thing, and nothing. And then once you get that and turn your dial, then I've had no issues since then. So it's just getting that stage.
Yeah, I think people need to do that and calibrate. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Wow, this is wonderful information tonight. I tell you, this is excellent data. I'm so glad that you joined us. Like I said, you'll be back, and I'll have you on Hyperspace for sure. Yeah, you're awesome. I hope you do some more public speaking and get out there so people know. How long have you been out here doing this? I just learned about you recently. So.
Yeah, well, that would be why, because really only about 6 months now, because I had just quit that correctional officer career because I was in hiding. I couldn't exactly be a prison guard and let anybody know about intuition or energies, or because I'd work with some of the inmates, and I would see the stuff around them. I can't exactly write about that, or hey, put that in your incident report on that. And that wasn't going to happen. So I would see that, and I was in a bad prison. These were guys. They weren't there for singing too loud in church, as it's called. They were there for doing pretty bad things.
Yeah, so, and very negative.
Yeah, and they have bad things around them as well.
Oh yeah, entity parasites, and so it could be electronic possession or regular possession. Pick one, flavor of the week.
All the above.
Yep,
that's right.
There's all kinds of crap going on there.
And then other stuff, because then what I can see also, I can see the ships. So now people, I don't know where your audience stands on the ET thing, but I can tell you they're there. And I see them because they'll come up in ships and straight. They think they're in. It's funny. It's almost laughable because they'll be in this little ship, say, I don't know, the size of a semi truck, right above the prison, middle of the day, and nobody sees them. And I'm talking about 100 other guards there, inmates everywhere. Nobody sees them. And then when I focus, I'll look at them, because then I'll do my focusing and I'll get curious enough, because I'll ignore them because it's nothing new to me. Not big. I'm like, okay, big deal. To others, I get it's kind of exciting, but not me. So then I'll focus on them, and then because somehow I don't know what the deal's going on, but they know when I'm looking at them or looking, because then I'll look and see what they're doing. And then when I do that, then they'll start to get excited, and maybe like the ship will go away. And I'm talking a 3D ship, not just there's a vague hazy thing there and an overlay like I was kind of laughing about, because there's those as well. No, this is ship flying straight in. I don't know how people aren't seeing them, couldn't tell you, but they're not. At least nobody's acknowledging it. And then we'd see, so that would be right over the middle of the day, by the way. And at night as well. And then the government stuff. So I actually have video of, I don't think nothing they can say about it, because I saw what I saw. So they would bring in these black helicopters flying. I think they call it map of the earth. So they kind of go up the trees really low so you can't see them. Well, they made the mistake, because I was a graveyard guy. So I worked night shift, and it was a full moon, and they were doing their little laps out in the field, because I'm in the mountains here. One of the helicopters was completely silent. So they had these black helicopters, and I don't know how they did it, but the thing had zero sound. And the only reason I knew it was theirs because they came within a couple hundred yards of me. And they were right up next to me, and I could see the moon shining through the cockpit window, I guess, and see the guy's head. He said, they're turning around. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because the stars went away, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm just staring up in the sky. It's like 2 a.m, and they're circling a big field nearby, scanning, because then I looked at it to see what they're doing. They were scanning underground for something. So I looked at them, and I was like, okay. And I went deeper, and I looked at more. We can get in that if you want. But when I was at this point, I was like, whoa, the stars went away. Cloud. And then I started pausing. It was just that spot in the sky. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And then I clued in, and I'm like, there's a guy right there. So, and there's unmarked helicopters, and maybe an Apache or something. I don't really know. But I can tell you, they will sit there, and it was maybe, I don't know, a couple hundred feet above my head, right above the tower I was at, and they're silent. I don't know how, and I don't know what they're doing there. So I can tell you that those happen out there. And they had noisy ones with them as well. So it was like a normal one in front, a dead silent one in the back, almost impossible. There wasn't even any vibration coming from it. So I don't know what was going on there. Then another one. So they would do things like that on a graveyard, in the same areas where, again, I say ETs, but I don't really know who's in the ship, because it was a ship. It was a floating ship. So who is in it? Yeah, exactly.
What did the ship look like? I mean, did you get a good description or no?
Okay. Yeah. And then about 3 seconds later, it changed. So I don't know what to tell you about that either, but it would morph. Okay. Yeah. And it was above the big yard, we call it. So there would be about 200 inmates out there playing baseball. I'm talking the middle of the day. And there's this particular story I'm telling you. The last week I was working there, I went up to basically quit. In fact, that's interesting. It was the day I was going to the prison to quit to start doing this. And that ship, I never thought about that. That's okay. Anyway, I'll have to think about that later.
Well, ask Nancy if she said it. No,
I'm gonna have to run that by people, because I don't clue in on a lot of stuff like that. So that's what happened. So I'll get back to my story. The ship was, this one was about the size of a semi truck, like I mentioned, and it was, I don't know, morphing. It was like pulsing. I don't know what to tell you. It was like it was changing. I don't know. Yeah. It's hard to explain, but it was changing. And then again, when I focused, because I started getting really annoyed. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me, because this is blunt. I get a lot of blatant stuff and blunt stuff that's not believable, but with hundreds of people around, I thought, and I actually pulled the car over, and I thought, well, you know what? Because I was a little annoyed. I'm going to communicate. And then that's when I put my focus on them, because then I'll basically try and project, I don't know what the term of it is, but I'll project my consciousness in there and look. And everybody looked at me, and then the ship basically just kind of, I don't know, refocused, and then just kind of went away. So I don't even know what to explain. I don't know if it went anywhere, but it was gone from me. And that was the whole story. It was nobody talking to me or anything like that. But I could tell you, once they saw that I saw them, that's when they responded, because they didn't think anybody was seeing them.
Right. And that you've acknowledged, well, at least observed them. Very, very interesting. Wow. You could write your own book on all the things you've been observing.
I don't even think about it, because then I'm on the next thing. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's true too. It's a busy multiverse. It's busy dimensional fields. Everything's really occupied to some degree. It's just a matter of tuning into those things if you want to, I guess.
Absolutely.
That's one part, but very interesting. I'm surprised you were never recruited by some kind of a covert intelligence community because of your abilities and just your savvy. You're pretty switched on.
I've been told, and I've had people that have looked at certain things, and I can admit to an absolute memory wipe. I know that for a fact. Now, what I did in there, I don't know. And I've had people look, and it was stuff like that. But, as far as my actual me knowing, because I'll always be painfully honest, that has been so wiped on me that it's a miracle I have as much memory as I do right now in this conversation with you, because I've been so tweaked and messed with. And then I would wake up in these, where I was giving you a little hint of a story in the military, where they'd give me this special vacation because I'm such a great soldier. Of course, it wasn't the deal. I would wake up. Again, I just got to remember, I'm on the right audience here. I'd be floating in a room, and it's like they're trying to take me out of it. And I don't even know what to tell you on that. And then they'd acknowledge it. Oh, he's awake, sort of thing. And then back out. And that's the whole memory. Nothing else. I don't wake up anywhere working on anything. It's just that, but things like that. And this was from the hotel in again, maybe an audience member knows something. It was Birch's Gardens or something like that. I think it was the Eagle's Nest where Hitler was. And they would say, oh, well, we need you, or you won this, what was it? Tours. So they take me underground to all these bases in Germany. There's a few of us. It wasn't just a me one thing. There's a handful of us, and show us these underground, I don't know, railroads, these bunkers, this, that, and the other, and talk about from World War II. And then they give us each our special room in this massive hotel that was empty, by the way, except for, say, 5 or 6 of us soldiers. And we'd again win these special vacations about every 6 months or so. But I would wake up during it. None of the others did, because I didn't talk about it. And I thought at the time I was sick in dreams, but there was stuff happening.
That is something else. Wow. Very, very interesting. I wanted to just take a second here. I had a message in the chat from the station manager, owner, and Nighthawk. And I guess this is to Robin's. This is about Robin's family. And Robin Falkoff, Dr. Falkoff, is actually in the process of transferring out. For those who don't know, she has cancer. So this is from his or her family, rather, Robin's family. Robin's barely here, but will probably last the week. Richard is in pretty tough shape on the financials, and I doubt he would want me to say anything directly, but he spent much of his cash that would otherwise have gone to the rent or for Robin in some Hail Mary moves. I know he's behind about 3 months in rent. So I'm assuming that this would be something where people can donate if we can get people together to want to support Robin. I'm not sure how or which direction to go. I believe Nighthawk will set that up. I don't know if it's coming to the station or to Robin, but let me know, Nighthawk, and I'll put the extra information in there. But yeah, do what you can if you all feel guided to do so. Okay, I just want to put that in there. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to make sure I mentioned that before we close the show.
Oh, no, absolutely. No.
Yeah. And then, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Falkoff. She's awesome, though. She's been wonderful. She's been one of the hosts at the station and had her own show over here and just steady as a rock. And so it's very, very sad. So very, very sorry to hear that.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. And, I know that they all transfer. We all know energy never dissipates. It changes form, right? So
absolutely.
7-year host. Yep. 7-year host, Nighthawk. Yep. Absolutely. So just a heads up on that one, everybody. But anyways, all right. I'm sorry to interrupt you like that, but we were talking about different things with what's happened to you insofar as where you've been. I was going to ask you also, did you ever go through a deep regression of any kind?
As in like hypnotic?
Hypnotic regression.
That's Richard was talking to me about that. I have not yet. I wanted to. I just haven't found the right person. But no, okay. I definitely think I need to.
Well, you might want to when you feel guided to, but you seem like you're so together. Sometimes when people go into those regressions, they don't really have to. I don't know. Maybe they feel guided. They need a confirmation. But other times it might just be, just leave it, just move on.
Oh, no confirmation. I'm so beyond needing confirmation.
Yeah, exactly. You seem like you're just together and pure energy. You're really intelligent and you don't seem like you have any issues. So I don't know if I would suggest that. I was just curious.
Oh, no, that's a good question. No, I'm at the point now where I have things to do and I've had too many realizations and epiphanies. It's like, oh, okay, it's time to make stuff happen. Take this and that and let's do the magic.
Mm-hmm. Right. I was going to ask you about the shungite with the honey in it. Does it change the texture? I mean, how does it feel?
Nothing at all. Absolutely nothing. You would think so. You think, oh, well, it's going to add a little flavor. It's going to do something to texture or powdery. Nothing whatsoever. It's the oddest thing. It's not like we dump 50-50 in there or anything. It's a small amount, but it's enough to change the color and clearly the energy level of it. But no, there's no flavor difference whatsoever. So you're just getting that good, depending on the time of year, organic, fall, spring, summer honey.
Nice. Very good. And so what's the color? Is it darker or lighter?
Oh, it's the blackest honey you've ever seen.
Wow.
So it definitely,
really?
Yeah, it comes out jet black with it. But it would be the step up from what everybody would know as Manuka as a really good healing honey.
Yeah.
Well, because of the C60 edition, and then just again our OCD, and I mean that to the extreme, as far as no chemicals, and every single day of their lives, I will actually project, and anybody can do it, loving, healing energy onto the bees. That matters. Nice. That absolutely
Happy
matters.
Bees. Absolutely.
Yeah, even the way we stir the honey into I have to stir it the right way, and there is a right way to it, and projecting loving, healing energy into that as well. So at every stage, it matters.
I agree. I wish more people who farmed or had beehives would do that sort of thing. I think that's
and everybody
fabulous.
Can. Yeah, it's not just us. We're doing nothing special. Everybody can do it. Just run with it. Do your own thing. In fact, come up with more and share it with us.
Right. Yeah. And do you have like a global connection? I know you said people around the world are doing this. Is there a place where they all go together and kind of just connect in with the chats, or how does that work?
I made a forum. So on the Shungai beehives, and I throw a lot of websites out here, but as far as for beekeepers, there's the forum, which is free on shungaibeehives.com, where I was talking a little bit about the video earlier. So in there, we have people sharing different results and video. And then a lot of it's unfortunately an email to me directly. So I need to maybe repost it some places, but we've got I know it's well over a dozen countries, dozens of beekeepers now doing it. So it's getting big.
Fabulous. Do you have Facebook not website, but groups on Facebook or no?
Yeah. So if somebody goes on Facebook and just types in Shungai Beehives or Shungai Honey, that's both me or my name, Derik Condit. Either way, they're all the same. And they'll lead you there. And we've got various groups where on a daily basis, people are posting miraculous things with not just the honey, but with the Shungite products, be it with a new use they've come up with, or just maybe a twist on something we've already done. So there's lots of activity.
Well, that's perfect. And David, hi David, in Skype just texted me he said, and no metal used in the honey. Do not scoop it with metal. Does that make sense?
Oh, never use metal. In fact, don't pour it in metal containers. Don't use a metal spoon to pour it. We don't even use metal silverware in our house for our utensils. We use bamboo ones.
Thank you, David. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah,
that's right. Absolutely. No toxins, no BPA buckets.
Okay.
Heavy metal toxicity poison. So think too much metal in your system, Alzheimer's, autism, and I can go on from there, a plethora of issues. But you want no metal in there on stirring it. Again, that's why we use glass jars. You don't want to use metal in your extraction of the honey either. There's lots of aspects you want to look to. And then even if you have a bucket or container, you got to make sure it's BPA free for the chemical aspect of it. Yeah.
To factor in. Yeah. What about solid silver, like just pure silver? You still can't use anything like that with utensils or anything?
Oh, no. Pure silver would be okay. So I make colloidal silver by the gallon here, and I'll actually spray it inside of the beehive because that's obviously inhibits bacteria and viruses and things like that. And that's what's in some of our Shungite products online as well, is colloidal silver. That's what the S4 means. There's silver in it. So no, if you had a silver spoon, eat it, do it. I actually have little silver nuggets in my jacuzzi filter rather than the fabric. Oh yeah.
That's great. You guys should be so healthy. That's wonderful.
We don't get sick. That's right. Injuries and wounds all go away. Mm-hmm.
You should have healing retreat centers. Are you going to be thinking about that?
I'm making that. I'm looking at that now. That's
I want to be on your mailing list. Okay.
Yes. There you go. Exactly. Yeah, you should.
I'll be there in a heartbeat.
I'll bring that trailer to you, and we'll get that.
I need one. Come out here to Colorado. Seriously.
No, that's the plan. That absolutely is.
Excellent. Well, we'll stay in touch for certain. I know we're going to run out of time here in the illusion of it in a few minutes, but once again, people want to reach out to you. I have to thank you so much. You're just a wellspring of data. It's been an honor to interview you tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And also let everybody know how to get in touch with you, how to reach out to you. What's the best way to do that and all that wonderful.
Sure. They can. The best way is probably now would be thecosmicreality.net, and we have a contact form, or just our cosmicrealityllc@gmail.com. But that's on the website too, so it doesn't have to be memorized. And we'll respond to all of them. And as I mentioned, we have a chat line on the website where often my wife and I, Maureen, are up on there. We'll help anybody anytime, ask any question. There's no too crazy of question or anything out there. It's all about helping. And then we travel, and I talk for free. I've been offered to pay. No, I don't want money for speaking about the bees or helping. This, again, it's a team effort. We're one big family. Let's help each other. So I'll share the information. Yeah, and I have stuff I can email people if they want more information on how to integrate the bees and the Shungite together.
Yeah, I like that. I think more people should do that if they have bees. There's no doubt. Mm-hmm. That's perfect. I love it. What about, I know we're going to run out of time, but what about the smart cars? Everybody has, obviously a lot of electronics in the cars. Real quick, we're going to run out of time, but any thoughts?
Yeah, we use actually our shungite magnets on those, and they help them run more efficient.
Okay, and we'll get into that too next time you're back. And I want to thank
Sure.
you once again, Derik. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Stay safe out there, everybody. Stay tuned for Shiny Side Out with David Dunder and Becky coming up next. The Silent tonight from Down Under with their fantastic show, as they always do. They're going to be discussing the lost years of Jesus, so stay tuned. All right, thank you, Derik. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Night, everybody. Take care. Nighthawk.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message. Welcome to Revolution Radio, where you, the listeners, are in charge. Here at Revolution Radio, we present 48 broadcast hours of news and information each and every day. Revolution Radio never sleeps. Revolution Radio is worldwide and borderless information. Revolution Radio is also commercial-free. Revolution Radio is supported 100% by you, the listeners. And that's why we appeal to you to donate and support this station and its expenses. You can support us in many available options like archive subscriptions, our seed pack selections, or even my woodworking store. And we also even have Revolution Radio's swag at the Revolution Radio Zazzle store, which you can get t-shirts, coffee cups, even a baby onesie. Or you can just plain donate to the cause. We cannot continue without your support, and your support is what helps pay the bills. So please, if you wish us to continue, please stop by our station support page and drop a dime on us. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps. Your data safe? Do you have the necessary information to assist you in confidently living through just about any survival situation? Is survival and gardening, off-grid living, medical knowledge, or even natural or man-made EMPs on your list of personal concerns? Do you have your documents and your personal information in a safe place in your hands where you know where it is? Well, check out our preloaded EMP-proof thumb drive. Over 3 gigs of survival documents and how-tos, plus the USDA offline food preservation website, and much, much more, including a surprise bonus we just can't tell you about here. With plenty of room left over to store your most important documents. Imagine if a megavirus or computer failure took out